Ange, I imagine very frustrated, especially with the second half. So what are your thoughts on the drop between the first and the second half? Because first half was very dominant.
Yeah, that's disappointing. Not frustrated. I'm absolutely gutted with that. That's probably the worst defeat we've had since I've been here. Unacceptable second half. Just saying we weren't anywhere near where we should be. Maybe we just got carried away with how we were going.
Yeah. How do you make sense of that? You mentioned maybe you got carried away, so you feel it was more of a mentality problem today?
Yeah, I think so. In the second half, I just don't think. We kind of accepted our fate, which it's a bit hard to understand because we haven't done that since I've been here. We've usually fought for everything, but when you don't, you pay a price, and we paid the price.
Was it surprising for you, especially because you've been performing very consistently and mentally you've been in the matches throughout the games?
Yeah, as I said, maybe that's part of the problem. Maybe things were travelling along too smoothly, and football and life will trip you up if you get too far ahead of yourself, and that's what it looked like to me in the second half.
So what are the words? What's the message for the players right now after everything that happened, especially in the second half?
There's no message. You've like I said, it's a terrible loss for us, as bad as it gets, and there's only one way to fix it, and that's my responsibility.
Yeah, second half, I saw you changed. You made a couple of changes in midfield. What do you feel was happening specifically in that part of the pitch?
I wasn't really that part of the pitch. I thought it was everywhere. We lost all our jewels. We weren't competitive. If you're not competitive in football, irrespective of what you do tactically, it's not going to work, and we weren't competitive.
And after such a frustrating evening, what do you expect the players to process? How do you expect the players to process this? What do you expect them to take from this afternoon?
Well, they all got international duty, the majority of them, so they'll all process it individually, and then, I'll deal with it when everyone gets back.
Boys, well done. The fans were very loud at final whistle after that great comeback. How did it feel?
Yeah, it's obviously amazing feeling to win the game, get the 3 points in the end. I think first half was obviously bitterly disappointed, frustrated. The performance we put in, it was embarrassing. It's nothing that we want to be part of, and we shown our character. The attitude was right in the second half. It was all about fighting. We come out and fight, do what we can do, and we won the second half. We got the 3 points.
Yeah, about that second half, Jorginho, please tell us about the halftime talk, because it worked wonders.
Yeah. I think we're happy, and we stay everybody together. And like the coach say, we have to believe. And today is what we do. So we have 3 points today. So we are happy.
Do you think it was just a matter of belief in that first half too much?
What we say in the halftime, we say it's not about tactic now, it's about fighting, and this is what we do. So we have done this, and today it's work, so happy.
Yeah, and looking confident, and talking about confidence, you're having, Danny, a great start of the season, 4 goals already. In which way has it been different for you? Because it's been very positive.
Yeah, it's positive. It's one that obviously I've been getting a few more opportunities. I was really peed off in the first half. If there was an opportunity that I know I should have done much better with, but I kept going. Made sure that we stuck to the game plan, and as I said, Georgie touched upon it at half time. I think we've got to give credit to some of the senior boys in the dressing room who aren't even on the pitch, and the likes of Steely and James Milner. They pretty much told us it's the bare minimum we've got to fight, and to compete, it's the Premier League. Every single game's going to be tough, and so everyone's together in this. We know Brighton Hove Albion, but we want to be challenging the establishment, as the manager touched upon, and we know we've got the quality to do it. We've got to be a lot more together, pick up the performances, and get 3 points more often.
A nice assist from this one here.
Because of Danny, he was in the good position. So
I've nicknamed him Velcro because his touch is so nice, and it just stuck to him, and it was a great assist, and I was there to put it away.
Well done, boys.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Brilliant interview. Fantastic smiles from those goal scorers, those winners in the Brighton dressing room. How often did they say, or talk about fight. You know, we talk a lot here about tactics. We do. But sometimes, does it come down to how much you are prepared to fight and scrap on that football pitch?
Billion%. You can talk about the tactics, and like they said, they were embarrassed by the scoreline when they went in at half-time. And I didn't think they played that badly in the first half, to be totally honest. They had their opportunities, didn't take their opportunities, but they were disappointed with the way that they competed with Spurs in the first half.
Embarrassing, Danny Welbeck said.
Yeah, and, you know, as a player, you go in there, you feel that, and that's what the manager said. It's now about fighting. It's not about, you know, the tactics. Let's go out there and put a performance in, show that we're going to compete. And that's what they did. They did that in the second half, and Spurs couldn't live with them. You know, Spurs became complacent, couldn't live with the fight in the second half.
They've done the basics well, didn't they, in the second half? As much as in the first half, they've just come off a bit of a drubbing from Chelsea last week. They're probably a little bit nervous, especially playing they was never going to play the high line like on the halfway line. They was always going to be there or thereabouts. They got caught out so many times with a deep run from Spurs in the first half. They couldn't get to grips with it. So they go out and then it's all about getting the early goal. If you can get the early goal, games change. They got that, then they just built character, built momentum, took it to Spurs, and then Spurs in the end just capitulated.
No, not only that. I think the third goal showed what was Brighton about today, about the fighting and the desire. Because as we watched the goal, it was a scrappy first touch, and he was just fighting with 3 people around him. And then it was about, I want it more than you guys. That's why he crossed the ball to Danny, he scored. Bad for us though. Right?
Yeah, really bad.
But what was so good, Dimitar, about Tottenham in the first half that was so bad in the second?
First half, there was a belief, there was improvisation, there was a risky passes forward, going forward, people running in behind, playing each other, getting for the ball, asking the ball, not be afraid to pass the ball between the defenders, and confidence in the final third, second half, none of that.
Do you know the fight that he's talking about that they had in the second half? Spurs had it in the first half. Didn't let up. Every time Brighton got on the ball, there were 2-3 Spurs players around, putting them under pressure, knowing they wanted to play out from the back. They just flipped it.
I wouldn't even say it was fight, just sort of like in terms of out of possession. It was more in possession. Yeah. They were so aggressive with their play. They was on the front foot, thinking forward, scanning where they're going to play next. As soon as it come down, there was runners off the ball. It flowed. It was free flowing. They just never got to grips with it in the second half. Like that, now get in the box, runners in the box, communicate inside. There's always options. Admittedly, a mistake from Verbruggen, but the comparison from first half to second half was miles apart.
What they had in the first half was, even though they tried to play out from the back, every time Brighton closed them down, they had that out ball in Solanke. Never used it once in the second half. There was never see the ball come out from the back and go into Solanke. He hold it up and bring other people into the game. Hardly touched the ball in the second half.
Well, he made 9 passes, Solanke, in the second half, and 4 of those were from kickoffs.
There you go. He hardly touched the ball in the second half. Not through any fault of his own. I thought in the first half, used him well. They went over the press at times when Brighton were closing them down, straight into Solanke, and the second goal, the first goal comes off him coming into spaces. Didn't use him at all in the second half.
Does that show, Les, that within that Spurs team, obviously in-game moments, games change, so you need someone or a group of players to go, listen, what's going on now? It's not working. Let's beat the press. Let's start going on. Get it into Solanke. You hold the ball up, then we'll start getting up the pitch.
Yeah, sometimes I think as a manager, you're trying to understand. He probably's not said to them, change anything that you're doing, carry on doing the same thing. And for whatever reason, they decided not to use that out ball. Let's keep it. Let's play it. We're 2-0 up. We're coasting there. The goal goes in, and then all panic sets in.
Was it too easy for them, do you think?
In the second half.
It could have been 3 or 4 in the first half.
In the first, for sure. But is it possible that Spurs was telling themselves half-time, we won the game? Is that also a possibility? Coming from someone from us that we used to play the game also, thinking, well, it's going to be easy in second half.
You've just beaten Manchester United 3-0 away the week
For example,
before.
yes, we maybe underestimate a little bit Brighton, and that was probably the mistake as well, because in the second half, Spurs from the first half was none there. It was gone. And we're watching here in disbelief, right? What is going on? So that's why I'm curious to watch what Ange is going to say now after the game.
I'll be surprised at half-time if them words would have come out. I think that it would have been a case, especially from the manager, to say, these are going to come out the traps, make sure we're ready, make sure we're alert, be defensively, on it, and then, don't concede. And obviously what's happened is they've conceded.
Well, incredible fight back, wasn't it, from Brighton? We're all keen to know what exactly Fabian Hurzeler said at half-time. So let's try and get some clues, because he's talking now with Natalie Jedra.
Fabian, I imagine it was a great halftime talk that you had with the players. What was the key message and most importantly, the key changes between halves?
I think the first half was not a tactical thing that we concede these 2 goals. It was more like about making the last step, playing with intense, fulfill the match plan with energy, and that was the main topic. And we tried to get this back in the halftime, but again, it's the job from the players. They played an amazing second half. They showed a great reaction, and I think they deserve to win. Not everything was bad, although it seemed to be bad after being 2-0 down, but there were also positive things, and we also showed this to the team.
Besides the attitude, your wingers, I wanted you to talk a little bit about how important it is to have wingers that are so involved all the time, like Rutter and Mitoma, always causing problems.
I think for every team it's important to have a little bit individual quality, and I think the 4 players in front, they shouldn't define themselves by the individual quality. They should define themselves by how they work for the team, and I think both of them had a great impact. Not only these 2, also Danny. When you look how much he worked for the team, Minte, he scored his first goal. So I'm happy for them. I think they worked hard and they deserved it. Their goals, their assists.
Yeah, what have you been feeling about Danny that's standing out? Because at the age of 33, he's having an outstanding start of the season.
I don't see him for me that he's 33. So. He seems to be younger. He's in great shape. He's taking care of himself, of his performance, of his how he prepares for training, how he does regeneration. So I always say he's a role model for all the young players, and it's possible to play in the Premier League even with a high age for the footballers. So don't misunderstand me. And I really enjoy working with him because he's a big professional, and a lot of young players should see him, how hard he works, and should see what is possible in the football career.
How does it feel personally for you, when winning this way, especially the way you played second half? Because I imagine this week's been tough and challenging for you. A lot of questions around Brighton and the way you guys especially played against Chelsea, and now you have like a statement win against Spurs.
And that's what I said to the team, that they should focus on the process, should focus on the small things, because in the end, that's the main thing. That's the only thing how you can react on bad performances, and that's what we tried this week. Focus on the small steps, focus on the things that the players can control, focus on their own quality, and they showed a great reaction today.
Well done then, Fabio.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Speaks well, doesn't he? Do you like what you hear from him?
Yeah, and what I heard, for me, it was basically nothing connected with tactic in the second half. It was more about probably the guys was talking to each other and saying, let's go, we can do this. If we get 1 goal early on, then it's possible. I think that's exactly what happened, and they wanted more in the second half.
Certainly did. They came flying out, didn't they? Was it the difference that they managed to get Stupinian on, and there was a little bit more width there?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. What you can see in this clip, what he does is he goes wide, Mitoma can then go inside and roam around. There's that about, can you get a delivery into the box? Yes, he can. Bit fortunate in terms from a Spurs point of view, but it's about, can you get quality into the box, get numbers into the box. This time it drops to Minte, who puts it in the back of the net. It was a great finish, Les.
It was a great finish, and it was a slightly you expect Ndoggy to do a bit better here, but he just gets a flick off. Van der Ven's just gets a little flick as it comes in there. It's hard to see, but it just gets a touch here and it just lifts the ball up.
Whether it touches him or not, Les, it's going to zip off that surface, isn't it? So is that the best policy, to try and swing a leg at it?
I mean, if you're coming in from that way, because he's left-footed, if he swings a left foot, he puts it in the back of the net himself. So he's trying to clear it with his right foot. That nick just probably takes it away from him. He should do better in terms of defending it, but then this is just Mite just gets on the end of it.
I think it's a rookie mistake.
Yeah.
He have games like under his belt. He should do better than this.
Yeah.
And then after this, everything comes.
Is that a sign of the team that perhaps their first thought is that even the defenders we're talking about is not always defending? It's how they can get up the other end of the pitch.
Well, you're a defender first and foremost. You need to defend. Yes, in this time and days, obviously most of the defenders, especially the right backs, left backs, they're going and attack. And sometimes the first thought is let's go attack. But it's about reading of the game. So that first goal illustrates that really well. You need to anticipate. If the pitch is wet, the ball is going to jump a little bit. The speed is going to be different. You need to be ready no matter what. That's why I say when you do mistakes like this, of course someone is going to punish you and you suffer.
Minter gets his first Brighton goal and Jorginho gets his first goal here. I think he's still smiling, Jorginho, by the way.
Yeah, good character. This is a great goal. Again, Stupend wide. This ball here takes out 4 Spurs players straight away, and the take from Matoma as well to open up his body. You know, Gigi there shrugs off Spurs defenders like they're not there. It's a really worked goal from a Brighton point of view. Spurs will be disappointed in terms of the amount of bodies that they've got round there, but Brighton take it so well.
He's an interesting one, isn't he? Because they paid a lot of money for him, Steve, and people have been asking questions, a lot of scrutiny on him because of that price tag. Yeah. How much is this going to help?
Yeah, it's going to be massive. You know, a lot of highlight on João Pedro in terms of what he creates for the team, in terms of an individual aspect. He can create goals from nothing. He'd be the first choice. Danny Welbeck has got a new lease of life as well. So he's finding his feet at the moment, but if he keeps banging in goals like that, he'll stake a claim.
Is that another case of Spurs just not being strong enough?
Yeah, you look at the same 2 defenders again. And Doggy, he pulls out, comes in from the side, misses the tackle, and then Van goes to ground, and unfortunately wasn't able to block the cross. So it's bad defending from Spurs all round. You know, Matoma's touch inside, no one tackles him. So it was we just stood off him a little bit more.
And I suppose you could say the same about Brighton's third goal as well. Rutter himself said, didn't he? He was just fighting to get some contact on the ball.
In my opinion, nothing else. Scrappy control of the ball and just trying to figure something out, something to happen. Maybe a bit of luck, which I think it was the case. A bit of luck here and there to getting the ball in between 3 defenders and then going down to the ground, like crossing with a tackle, actually.
Bentancur's got to put out of play.
Yeah. Just pure endeavour there from...
slide the ball out of play there, Bentancur. He doesn't, and you get punished for it.
And Danny Welbeck makes amends. Brilliant goal from him. He is 34 next month. His manager is 2 years younger.
Yeah.
How much is this going to help Fabian Hurzeler, someone who's new to the Premier League?
Yeah.
And again, people looking at his age, just getting that settling in period and people buying into what he's trying to do here.
Yeah, I mean, well, you say settling in period. I think he won Manager of the Month in the first month, so he's off to a flyer.
That's not a bad way to
in
say
terms
it.
of the players, all the teams that Fabian's coached before, it's all about intensity. It's all about work rate. That is a given. He said it there in his interview. Energy, work rate, intensity. Interesting, when I was with him in the week, he said that he's compared the levels of where the Brighton team are now as a collective and as individuals, and he said they're nowhere near where he wants them to be, where his previous teams are. So I don't know whether that's good news or bad news for the lads in the dressing room, but his motto is if we work harder than the other team, we've got more chance of beating them, and as we proved in that second half, that's what's happened.
Really promising signs, that's for sure, from Brighton. What a brilliant comeback victory for them.